This is the story of the oldest railway workshops in the world, the Derby Locomotive Works, founded in 1839. This is how the works looked in 1851, the year the first locomotives were built, and the roundhouse and clock tower, still in existence, are part of a long, proud heritage. Over the years, the site grew to some 50 acres and was later joined by the carriage and wagon works, making Derby unique in having two railway manufacturing facilities. The works was part of the Midland Railway, which had a small engine policy, as can be seen from the lineup in the top yard in the early 1900s. The layout of the site changed little until the mid-80s, when the bottom yard and 8 shop were closed. This is 8 shop in its heyday, a hive of activity. Steam locomotive production lasted for 106 years, from 1851 until 1957. In total, 2,941 steam locomotives were built here. Matthew Kirtley was the first works manager and was followed by many other famous names, including Johnson, Paget, Dealey, Sir Henry Fowler, and H.G. Ivett. Probably one of the most popular managers was Freddie Simpson during the 1960s. Derby has a reputation for pioneering, and in 1931 produced the first of 599 diesel shunters, which kept number 7 shop busy for many years. Steam locomotive production continued in parallel for more than 25 years. This Jubilee class 3-cylinder 460 Leander, still in existence, was restored at Derby in 1973. Derby was also responsible for building the original Royal Scot class locomotives. In 1947, Derby continued its pioneering streak by producing Britain's first mainline diesel locomotives, a pair of Coco diesel-electric locomotives powered by 1,600 horsepower English electric V16s. This was a joint venture by the LMS, led by Chief Engineer H.G. Ivett, and English Electric Traction. These unique locomotives paved the way for modern rail traction in Britain. Of course, not every prototype was successful. This, for example, is the Fell diesel mechanical locomotive, which was produced in great secrecy. Despite its unique design, which featured 4 500 horsepower supercharged engines, it couldn't compete with the ubiquitous diesel-electric, and was the only one of its kind ever made. Diesel locomotive construction continued for 47 years, with classes 24, 25, 44 and 45. These are still known affectionately amongst current workers as Type 2s and Type 4s. Locomotive construction finally came to an end in 1978 with the 2 electric power cars for the Experimental Advanced Passenger Train, or APT. In total, Derby produced 1,010 diesel and electric locos, bringing production between 1851 and 1978 to 3,951 locomotives. In 1963, the last steam locomotive was overhauled in Derby. A standard Class 4 460 leaves the southern end of 8 shop to the cheers of crowds of workers. But this wasn't quite the end of steam locomotives at Derby. For the works open day in 1973, a group of fitters took part in the restoration of a 3F Ginty locomotive. Fortunately, they recorded the event on film, with the youthful Trevor Lamb in action behind the camera. The Ginty number 16440 took pride of place at the 1973 Open Day alongside the newly restored Leander. Also in attendance were 2 significant locomotives produced at Derby: Peak Diesel number 45104 and number 73129, a 460 standard Class 5 steam locomotive. This was one of the last ever steam locomotives made at Derby. Number 73129 presents a striking contrast to the sleek shape of the APTE. Derby didn't just make and repair locomotives. The site was also responsible for the repair of all railway breakdown cranes, which were overhauled in the original roundhouse. Although traction production ended in 1978, the overhaul of locomotives continued until 1988, principally with HST power cars and other diesel locos. This busy scene is in 8 Shop, where the car park is today. The manufacture of bogies started in 1968 with freight bogies. Then, in 1974, the first Series 3 bogie was produced. This was known as the BX1, and its latest form used on today's Electrostar, nearly 12,000 bogies later. In 1988, the main erecting shop, 8 Shop, closed. To mark the occasion, a commemorative section of rail was presented to Tommy Parks, the superintendent. And shunter number 08253 had the honour of being the last locomotive to leave 8 Shop. At around the same time, the bottom yard closed, and with it the wheel shop, known as 16 Shop, 18 Shop, where locomotive boilers were made, the cab shop, and 4 Shop, where all electric motors and generators were repaired. Stanier Avenue, otherwise known as the Top Yard, stands empty. In the heyday of the works, every single component of a locomotive was made on site. Now, the door to the smith shop gets barred for the last time. Today, this is all that's left of this famous site, 9 Shop and 7 Shop, dating from around 1870, covering just under 5 acres. Behind this entrance, originally the division between 8 Shop and 9 Shop, lies a dynamic, lean, modern production facility dedicated to the manufacture of bogies. In many ways, this is perhaps what the site should be remembered for: expertise in manufacture, being accurate, efficient, economical, and renowned for high-quality products. It takes just 16 hours to fabricate this Electrostar bogie frame. It's made from just 8 castings, produced to accuracies of within 0.3 millimeters. All welding is carried out with the components locked in the fixture. Traditional plated fabrication techniques are also employed. This side frame is destined for Guangzhou in China. Extensive use is made of automated robotic welding, which delivers high levels of efficiency and repeatability. This equipment is unique in having a laser guidance system to ensure consistent weld quality. Bogie frame machining takes up to 7 hours in 1 or 2 operations, with accuracies ranging from within 0.015 millimeters to within 0.25 millimeters, depending on requirements. Wheeling on final assembly, where the part-assembled bogie gets lowered onto and attached to the wheel sets, is a very testing operation, demanding coordination and teamwork. Three dedicated assembly lines produce the finished products that are in use around the world. The C20 Metro bogie for the Stockholm Metro was designed in Sweden but was made here in Derby. Another Scandinavian bogie, this time for Oslo's high-speed tilting airport express. This is an OTU bogie, which fits under trains running over the new Øresund Bridge between Copenhagen in Denmark and Malmö in Sweden. The Series 3 is our most successful bogie product. It's used both on the Turbostar and Electrostar. The Eurotram bogie is the smallest produced at Derby and has independent wheel sets. This is the site today, capable of producing at its peak 2,500 bogies a year. Its dedicated professional workforce has carried on a tradition dating from the end of the 19th century, based in the world's oldest railway workshops, famous throughout the world. On Christmas Eve 2004, the last bogie will come off the line, ending 165 years of production. An impressive record, which includes nearly 3,000 steam locomotives, 1,000 diesel and electric locomotives, and over 20,000 bogies. a proud history. So it is perhaps appropriate that this site is now called Pride Park.